Hello friends, a very warm welcome to UnSarkari. I am Vikas Bhardwaj. We have been discussing about not only media but also civil society and also their role in a democracy and different kind of contributions both of media and civil society. But do you think it is a one side coin? There is need to have critical assessment of both media and also of civil society so as to appreciate their role better and also to take a stand which you can take up say in writing essay, even journal studies, also in different kind of subjects like political science, public administration, anthropology, and even sociology. So the question is that are media and civil society, they are genuine checks on power? Are they genuine check, do you think, in India? Think about the newspaper, think about the podcast, think about social media handles, think about the kind of patronage government gives to certain channels and it is censoring certain other channels, or do they risk becoming extensions of the power? Why do we, invent terms like Godi media? Why do we invent terms like, monopolizing of newspaper and print and other kind of mediums by one conglomerate or by one power? So we have to genuinely keep on thinking, and then only you can really appreciate the question that is it a genuine check on power or they risk becoming extensions of power? Write a short answer and we will discuss. Media as a puppet of ruling elites, most important and a very very big issue, because media has a potential to challenge power. It can channelize youth voice, it can channelize marginalized voice, but many a times it is acting as a puppet of ruling elites. What the government is saying, the newspaper, the media, and other groups will also say the same thing. So that is why it happened in state controlled manner, like in China. Whatever Chinese government is saying, the newspaper will be writing, it will be glorifying it. Corporate owned outlets in India, if you see and go and check out who is the largest owner of large number of you know uh, TV channels and even uh, magazines and newspapers, and you will find that they are actually not criticizing them because they are owned by corporate groups, say maybe some big corporate power. So it is possible that media is actually prioritizing interest of the powerful and not highlighting the interest of the needy people, the deserving people, and so forth. It is marginalizing dissenting voices. But is it happening in India? Or India is on a track. India is taking certain steps for reforms. India is bringing and making sure that the press is free and also there is democratic credential into it. What do you think? For example, in emergency in 1975-77, censorship was imposed and the press got very much restricted. So it is a case study that censorship of newspapers like Indian Express, the Statesman, it was there, and government wanted everything to be spoken and written only in a positive way. So censorship actually is a medium. That is what question is also there. It is act. Does censorship strengthen state legitimacy? That means if I am government, I may order the press, I may order online portals, I may order social media to do something, to write something, and not to say something. When government promotes censorship, democratic trust is eroding. But the question is it eroding irreparably? Or people really appreciate the shutdown of internet? People really appreciate when the government takes steps against anti-national portals and the anti-national newspapers and even journalists and so forth. So censorship, what do you think according to the constitution? What do you think according to the interpretation and the role played by judiciary? So censorship strengthens state legitimacy. Is it a right tool in the hands of the state, or it must not be used at all? What is your opinion? Civil society and co-option, very important keyword. Co-option can be co-opted by political and economic elites. Suppose there is a movement led by local people for environment protection and for protection of trees and forest and minor forest produce, but there may be coming up of a big corporate, and that corporate may be looking forward to mining or looking forward to other big project, suddenly civil society starts supporting it. So this co-option is also very dangerous. Why? Because civil society may be reliant on government funding, may be reliant on international donors, and that is why they will be promoting their agenda in the name of education, in the name of promoting social values. There may be religious conversion, there may be some other kind of activities, so there is conflict of interest, and it leads to reduced autonomy of civil society, and also it is diluting their effectiveness. That is why when you go and check out that how in the last 5 years government has taken large number of corrective steps for NGOs funding in India. It has asked them to streamline itself. It has asked them for transparency under FCRA regulations, that is Foreign Currency Regulation Act, so that it is found that what kind of activities these non-governmental organizations are carrying on in the name of education, in the name of child health, in the name of labor protection and so forth. Are they really working in Indian interest? That is what you have to see. My question to you is, can civil society remain independent when depending on state or donor resources? Think and write a 100-word to 200-word answer. So the positive thing is that media and civil society, they face censorship like in Pakistan, they face repression like in China, and they may be co-opted like in many other countries in Africa, and also in countries where there are authoritarian regimes. For example, crackdown in China, and even in present times Russia also showing vulnerability of these institutions because they want to portray certain kind of picture. Like India, if we say, then India always give freedom. India always provide right and correct platform to not only civil society but also to the media to speak up and to raise people's issues. Even in India, civilian awards in the last 10 years, they have been now molded on the people's power. Lesser known grassroots but very exceptional services have been recognized. So my question to you is, are authoritarian regimes more threatened by media or by civil society activism? What is more dangerous to them? Just try to write and give an illustration also. So, Arab Spring is an example of both power and limitations because social media mobilized citizens, especially youth, and it challenged authoritarian regimes over there. Social media went on to highlight power of media and social civil society. But instability in Libya and Syria, this led to, you can say, slow down, or you can say ending of Arab Spring, because different groups they emerged, they wanted their ideology to be put forwarded, they wanted their growth first, and that is why uh, the real agenda of the masses was actually somewhere lost. Think about Zenzi revolt in Nepal. Think about Bangladesh, think about Sri Lanka. So you will understand better. And you can just Google Egypt's Tahrir Square protest of 2011, how Egypt was at the cusp of a true democratic change, but it was not able to do so. So do social media create sustainable democratic change or only short-term mobilization? Very, very important and pertinent question. Try to write your answer and try to predict what future shapes can take place. Let's take example of anti-corruption movement. There have been movement not only in India, but there have been movements across the world. For example, Brazil, Lava Jato, car wash investigation. It has nothing to do with the car, but actually it is a money laundering, or you can say kickback exercise. Like in India, you have public sector undertakings. Similarly, in Brazil also there have been large number of private and the public sector groups who were involved in kickbacks and commissions and other kind of bribes. It exposed a widespread corrupt practice, or you can say corrupt practices in whole Brazil. But it was media coverage which went on to bring political upheaval and finally impeachment of the president Dilma Rousseff. So this is an example how media plays a very important role. When you compare it with the Anna Hazare movement, which was also amplified by media. We also know the corrupt practices and inefficiency and the policy paralysis shown by the UPA 2 government. It was further amplified by the media. एक माहौल बना दिया. So that is why it is very important. So does media exposure of corruption leads to reform, do you think, or it leads to political instability like the two examples we have taken up here? What is your stand? Think and then try to write a 150 words answer, because on that basis only we will be able to decide and discuss further that how your understanding is going. Now let's take another example. Let's take the example how civil society and democratic upsurge played a very important role in Africa, because then you will be able to appreciate that how it is bringing changes in different kind of societies in different parts of the world. For example, Sudan revolution. You go and Google it, and you can do some more research on ChatGPT and so forth, and you will understand how Omar al-Bashir, he was long time person at the power, he was forced to resign or he was forced to go out of the power. It was driven by coalition of civil society groups and professional associations. But what is happening in Sudan today? Is Sudan a very prosperous, happy, and safe country which was envisioned, or still it is embroiled in different kind of civil wars? This is what I want you to understand, and then try to link Sudan civil society role with South Africa's anti-apartheid movement. Why South Africa's movement was successful, whereas Sudan civil society role was not able to bring the correct result? That is what you will have to see, and then only you will appreciate it better. So civil society uprisings are more effective in transitional societies, societies which are moving from rural to urban, which are moving from agrarian to industrial society, or they are more effective in established democracies like US, or you can say UK. Think about it and then try to write and have an opinion. Let's try to see that how to conclude all these ideas which we have discussed till now. Media and civil society we have discussed. Yes, we agree with the fact that they are both actually double-edged forces. They can play a very positive and a proactive role, and they can create instability also. They can challenge power, but there is always a risk of co-option and also repression. They may support those forces which may not be in the favor of masses. There are global examples we have discussed showing both strength and also vulnerabilities. For example, we have taken one case study from India, we have discussed about Africa, Brazil, and the Arab Spring. I would suggest that you also take up more number of examples. So, in the 21st century, will media and civil society emerge as autonomous democratic institutions? Keyword, very important word, autonomous democratic institutions. They will not be bothered about what political party is saying. They will not be bothered about who is in power. Or they will remain dependent upon state and elite interests. That means sectoral interest. Maybe certain political party wants something. Maybe certain corporate group wants to have its own ideas, have its own interest fulfilled. How do you think in case of India, when India wants to become a Viksit Bharat by 2047, under all circumstances, and we are moving in that direction also, whether it is defense indigenization, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is artificial intelligence, how do you see India moving forward and bringing critical examples for both media and civil society? Then your answer will become perfect. So thank you very much for having such an engaging and also intense discussion, thereby clearing all the concepts on these lines. I'm sure this will help you to write amazing answers.